Get in on the action this season with Underdog's Pick'em game. Select higher or lower between 2 and 8 players and compete for up to 325 times your entry. Use code DIRECTOR when signing up to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Go to Bolt Fam, it's the Director. Chargers fans, how we feeling, Bolt Fam? I don't know, dude. I've been seeing some mixed results on social media. Some Chargers fans ecstatic that we found a way to win. Other Chargers fans a little bit edgy about, the offense doesn't look quite right. We kind of snuck in. I don't know, man. I'm feeling pretty great as a Chargers fan right now. Hey, as a Chargers fan that is so used to losing those games, I don't know how much I can complain and when we start winning these sorts of games, man. By the way, have a day, rookie. This is probably my favorite photo that I found in research for this video. Jim Harbaugh, just so proud of this draft gem coming through in this game, man. It's going to be a fun one to recollect with you guys today. The Chargers taking down the Atlanta Falcons. Week 13, and guys, a season is starting to round a corner. The Chargers now, I think, the top team in terms of the wild card spot. There's a lot going on, a lot to get excited about, and a lot to recollect on this one. Before we do kick things off, man, shout out to the sponsor of this video, Underdog. Use code DIRECTOR to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Newcomers, take advantage of the Monday Night Football free pick right here. Guys, there's a whole bunch of free tokens and stuff going on right now. You guys want a good way to shoe into Underdog and have a lot of fun, up your odds a little bit there. That's definitely a way to do it. Take advantage of the tokens. That's the way to play Underdog. Before we do kickoff, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into it. Lights, camera, action.
Who's got it better than us?
Into the end zone, Charger fans are witnesses to history.
Your Chargers at Falcons post-game report. And we're going to start things off here with something that's kind of important to keep in mind as Chargers fans continue on, right? My first segment here is going to be called Embrace the Culture. Okay, embrace the culture, Bolt fam. This is the real deal. Like, we're finally starting to see the accolades come to work of all the moves that we made this offseason. Jim Harbaugh, his way of winning football games. It's happening. And like I alluded to at the top of the show, I'm seeing, some mixed feelings on how the Chargers won this game. We survived the day. And of course, there are some underlying concerns that we are going to be talking about in today's video. The offense needs a lot of work. We're already starting to look at some pieces in the draft that may be very beneficial to fixing some of these issues. But right now, I just want to remind Chargers fans, we're 8-4. That's insane. I don't remember who posted it on Twitter, but somebody this morning I was reading stated that this is the first time this team has been 8-4 since 2006, and we all remember that amazing season, right? This is the good times that we're living in, man. This is insanity to me for the Jim Harbaugh first season of a soft rebuild to start off 8-4. Is absolutely incredible. It's a huge accomplishment. Sure, it's not as pretty as a lot of us would have liked to seen. There's a lot of things that still need fixing, a lot of questions that still need answered. But for a first season, man, 8-4, woo! That's absolutely wild. And one big thing that I wanted to know on this particular segment, Embrace the Culture, is that this is actually kind of funny to think about. Chargers and Chargers fans not used to winning, and especially not used to winning this way, right? Where the Chargers in years past, you make a mistake, you're going to pay for it, right? You find a weakness or you get exploited, you're going to pay for it. If the game is close and they're starting to come back, you're going to pay for it. This is the way Jim Harbaugh wins football games, man. They're tough, they're rough. It's a find a way to win mentality. And who says that can't work? That's been the entire mantra of the Kansas City Chiefs this year. Of course, we're not going to say they didn't have some zebra-striped help along the way, right? But they just find a way to win. Good teams find a way to win, even in dire situations. And that really does spell a lot of what Jim Harbaugh's career has been up to this point. He finds ways to win. A well-coached team will find a way to win despite all of the, problems and road bumps along the way. They'll find a way to do it. It's going to be rough. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be as high-flying and exciting as years past have been with the Chargers, the Phillip Rivers, the recent Justin Herbert, heck, back to the Drew Brees and LaDainian Tomlinson, right? We're still building up to that. But we're going to be a rough, tough, physical, old school style football team that just wins games. A lot of us are still embracing that idea. I'm here to tell you guys, embrace the change. It comes with wins, and wins come with culture, and culture comes with success, and success comes excitement, hype, and enjoyability for us, the fans, man. Excellent day for the Chargers. In terms of getting the win, they do have things to fix that will help their odds at winning future games. But the ability to walk out of the stadium victorious after a short week, the Falcons coming off of a bye week, all the circumstances revolving around the travel, the timing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The Chargers found a way to win, and I'm all about that, man. I'm about this Jim Harbaugh win column culture that's being established right now. I think we can all agree, though, right? This game would not have been won without the efforts of the defense. The defense wins the day for the Chargers in this Week 13 matchup, man. Dude, I don't know about you guys. The offense, and we're going to talk about this later, was putting me to sleep most of this game. It felt especially difficult for us to get anything going. But the defense kept me going, man. The defense kept me awake. The defense kept me, hyped and itched because they just kept making plays. I should have had the stat sheet in front of me, man. I'm terrible at this gig. But if I recall, we forced, 4 or 5 interceptions on Kirk Cousins this week, which is absolutely fantastic. It speaks to the talent that we have on the defensive line. Sure, only logged the 1 sack. You would have liked to see the Chargers, who have put in a lot of resources, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Bud Dupree, Tuli Tuipulotu, to have 4 or 5 sacks this game, just like the Falcons ended up doing. But it did its job, right? They generated enough pressure where they had Kirk Cousins running for his life, throwing errant passes, having to get rid of the football in order to protect his well-being. And that sailed it in the direction of Chargers playmakers that were ready to pounce. One of them being this dude that we just got off the street, 3 days ago? Marcus May. Welcome to LA, my friend. Interception for the Chargers. Literally probably just picked up the playbook, getting to understand assignment, the way the Chargers play football. And this man logs his first interception. I love this redemption story identity that is being brought up in the Chargers defense, man. The Chargers team as a whole. The Chargers are the last chance Chargers, last chance you, right? These kids come in, they find new life. There's these veteran players that are finding, excellent twilight year production. This has just been an awesome thing to witness for my football team. And honestly, it makes me excited, especially for what future holds in free agency. A lot of these players that we picked up, I was like, whatevs. These are just bodies, guys to get in and camp and make things interesting in terms of competition and hopefully, the best rises to the top. But nah, man, these guys have been awesome. Tony Jefferson, who saw some time in this game, came out of retirement, former Raven. He had an awesome day, playing primarily high safety, allowing Derwin James to move around, and he was physical, he was mean, he had some nice plays. Of course, we talked Marcus May, released recently by the Dolphins. He comes in and generates an interception. We signed Poona Ford, who's had an awesome late year to his career right now, man. He has been a huge free agent pickup. We got these other, Christian Fulton, who's, maybe been falling off a little bit lately, but he's had a pretty solid season in comparison to the rest of his career. Tierra Tart has been an amazing pickup. We traded for Elijah Molden, who's been an amazing, there's so many players. And then on top of that, you got guys like, J.K. Dobbins on offense. Will Dissly, who's been pretty outstanding. Yes, Gus Edwards has been doing the job, maybe underappreciated, but he's been pretty solid as well. Outside of maybe a few players, Bradley Bozeman, I can't really think of very many more. The free agency has been more or less fantastic, and it's because we're seeing this team finally coached up to what all our hopes and dreams have been up to this point. Let's make sure the Chargers are that team that can elevate players, elevate teams, get wins, and change the mantra of the Chargers. You got to go out and load up on superstars to have a prayer, at a 500 season. Now the Chargers going out here, we're finding talent, we're unearthing talent, we're building talent back up and resurrecting careers, and it's making for a very exciting adventure for me as a Chargers fan, man. Now every single signing, every single move holds merit because you never know who's going to pop. Speaking of you never know who's going to pop, man, free agency's getting exciting. Free agency's getting fun. Let's talk a little bit about the draft right now, man. Whoo! In particular, our guy Tariq Still. Sorry, everybody's telling me, Director, you're saying that wrong. It's Tariq Still. I get it. I'm sorry. The Hispanic in me will always call him Joe Ortiz. and Tariq Still. Sorry. Apologies to Tariq Still. Who had a fantastic day, man. Oh, my goodness. Talk about diamond in the rough, the gem of the draft. I don't know. I haven't been paying much attention to other mid, late round picks in the NFL. It just feels like Tariq Still is really among the best of this draft class in terms of value. How can you watch this guy who's been absolutely outstanding since the moment that he's, stepped foot onto the field and not say, wow, the Chargers got themselves a massive bargain in Tariq Still. I was looking at some stats earlier this morning. Again, I like to sit in bed and just kind of okay, what's going on? Who's got the metrics? Who's got all this stuff? Tariq Still, among all rookie cornerbacks this season, I think he ranks first, which is crazy in like the overall grade, right? Which is what? Tariq Still, in terms of interceptions, I think he's tied. Passer rating, I think he's in the top 8 or something like that. I really should have all this stuff written down. I'm kind of going off the cuff here. Either way, you all know it. We're all Chargers fans. We see it with our eyeballs. This guy is just an absolute stud. I've been asking you guys, who does this dude remind you of? Please, comments, help me out here. You guys mentioned Quentin Jammer at times, which, Chargers fans, yeah, I can definitely see that. Brandon Flowers does come to mind. You guys mentioned him a little bit too. He reminds me a little bit of Chris Harris Jr. Back in the Broncos days. You guys remember that? I mean, I don't know, dude. And Chris Harris Jr. was an undrafted guy too, right? He was a bargain guy too. This dude has just been absolutely fantastic. Tariq Still, among the league-leading NFL rookie cornerbacks, logs 2 interceptions, 1 for a pick 6. Mind you, we do not win this game without Tariq Still's pick 6. It's impossible. It's impossible. This game is won because of Tariq Still. I'm going to say that right now. Yes, it's a team, game and a sport and all that. No, we don't win this without Tariq Still. 29's in the chat. The dude's a stud. We got ourselves one of the biggest steals I've seen in a long time in the draft. And give him his flowers, man. Give him his flowers. Absolute stud. He better be getting the Team of the Week item in Madden Ultimate Team. That's all I'm saying, man. What a stud. What a stud. Speaking of studs, man. Ooh, Lad McConkey. Lad McConkey, man, this draft class has been very impressive. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Just wow. Actually, we're going to lump that in right here. Yeah. Okay. So first off, Lad McConkey. Speaking of value at the cornerback position, leading, the NFL rookies, whatever. It's a pretty exciting thing when a 5th round pick hits. Well, what about a generational wide receiver draft class that had the likes of Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, right? Rome Odunze, Brian Thomas, who's been, fantastic, so et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What about this guy, Lad McConkey, who currently is leading all rookie wide receivers in the NFL here after week 13? And mind you, there's a lot of these guys are going to be having their bye week next week. Still, Lad McConkey. Actually, I do have the stat over here. Let's go pick it up. I did tweet this a little bit earlier, and it will help reinforce the statement here. Lad McConkey has 58 catches for 815 yards and has scored 4 touchdowns in 12 games this season. That currently leads all rookie wide receivers in the NFL. The only rookie player to eclipse him is Brock Bowers at tight end, which, of course, was the other draft crusher, the director. Which, fantastic season for him. I hope he has a good career. I hate that he's on the Raiders, but whatever, right? Love Brock Bowers. Ladd McConkey, in terms of the wide receiver position, number one. And I get it. This next stat, doesn't paint the whole picture, but hey, you got to look at it for what it is. Malik Neighbors, in 10 games, mind you, 10 games, 75 catches, 740 yards, 3 touchdowns. So that averages out to what? In 10 games, 74 yards per game. I remember doing the math on this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think this averages out per game to around 69 yards per game for Ladd McConkey. And, of course, you got the touchdown in addition for Ladd. All I'm saying is right now, in my opinion, Ladd McConkey is either outpacing or keeping up with Malik Neighbors, a top 5 or just a top 10 pick in the NFL draft, versus Ladd McConkey, an early second-round pick in the draft. This kid, Ladd McConkey, who I'm gonna be doing this a lot. I'm gonna be patting myself on the back for that one, man. Ladd McConkey was my dude in this draft, and I was so ecstatic that we got him. For a guy that we got in the second round to be popping off so hard in such an amazing draft of wide receivers is absolutely so unreal. It speaks to what McConkey is as a player, to his toughness, because, yeah, he's been taking some licks, his talent, his connection now with Justin Herbert. It's been absolutely wild. And you know what? This was one of the hot takes that I had at the top of the season. If you guys watch the show regularly, I said, hey, I wouldn't be the least bit shocked in this system, especially when you take in consideration the different quarterback play they've got, that Ladd McConkey ends the season with a better stat line than Malik Neighbors in several metrics. And we're heading in that direction. And again, I'm not saying that Malik Neighbors is worse than Ladd McConkey. Malik Neighbors is a fantastic player. If they had the same equal quarterback play and opportunity or whatever, I do think Malik would edge him out for sure. But this is a second-round pick, y'all. This is Ladd freaking McConkey, the Chargers' second-round pick. And he's keeping up with a top 10 pick, a pick that all of us, will be, me too, all of us would have made on draft day. We would have all picked Malik Neighbors. But no, the Chargers, they did the right thing. They had a plan. They got a great alternative. And Ladd McConkey, he's going to need help eventually. We're going to need to get another wide receiver one. But he's a great freaking start. Welcome to the Chargers, Ladd McConkey. I'm very excited to see what his season rounds out to be in terms of yard. Guys, he's heading for a 1,000-yard season easily. We got 5 games left. Easily. 1,000-yard season. Very few receivers have done that over the course of the last 5 years or so. And we've had some really, really good receivers coming through the NFL at that point. Yes, it's been done a lot, for sure, but not as often as you would think. Okay? Now, speaking of this awesome wide receiver, cornerback, all this stuff, we haven't even talked about the first-round pick as often as we should. And this segment, it's basically hats off to Joe Ortiz. This is a love letter to Joe Ortiz, man. We've been talking about Tariq still. We've been talking about Ladd McConkey. Now let's talk about this guy, Joe Alt, man. Joe Alt, who's been one of the very best tackles in the NFL. Note how I did not say rookie tackles. One of the best tackles in the NFL. I cannot think of a more success story, definition, whatever, of the draft than the Chargers right now. We ended up with the best tackle in the draft. We ended up with one of the best, right now statistically, the best wide receiver in the draft. We ended up with the best, statistically in a lot of margins, cornerback in the NFL draft. 3? You kidding me? And that's not even to mention, Junior Colson, who I think is going to have an amazing, second season. He's been battling injury all year, appendicitis and all that kind of stuff, whatever. He's going to, I have full faith in him. Boyd B, we'll see. Not quite sure. But we all know Tariq Still's a stud. We all know Cam Hart's a stud. He just didn't play this game, right? Of course, I'm hoping he comes back soon. He's panned out to be a fantastic value as well. And then you got guys, Kamani Vidal, who we know is going to be pretty. He's been very good when given some opportunity. Brendan Rice is still kind of an unknown. This has been one of the best draft classes I have ever seen as a Chargers fan. And they made all the right moves, even when us, the fans, were screaming for them to go Malik Neighbors, do something else in the second, whatever. The only thing I think we screamed that they didn't do was center. Of course, we were right on that one, but they were even more right and taking Joe Alt and taking, of course, I would have taken him 10 out of 10 times, Lad McConkey, right? Just a fantastic draft. Congratulations, Joe Ortiz. I'm sure he's going to have a very lengthy and successful career in the NFL, given the way that it's starting off, because we're just getting started, man. Like, this is year one, Jim Harbaugh, Joe Ortiz. It's just going to get better. That's what's most exciting, man. That's what's most exciting. So a lot of excitement, right? Chargers fans, this game brought in a lot of excitement in terms of the defense. We found a way to win. We're trying to embrace the culture. Team's 8-4. We're currently at the top of the wild card spot in the AFC. It's awesome. It's awesome. But there is some stuff that we got to work on. And this little last part of the video, I'm going to help ease some of your guys' minds a little bit, because yes, there's an offensive crisis happening in LA right now. The Chargers are having very little success on offense, and it's stressing out Justin Herbert. You can see it every single week, right? We need to get some help for Justin. The offense needs help, and there's some glaring concerns out here. Justin Herbert, for one, this next segment called glaring concerns, okay, and reasons why I don't think the offense is working, and things that I think the Chargers need to improve and start thinking about improving now, and especially as we get closer to the draft and free agency. Okay, glaring concern number one. Herbert needs weapons. Now, funny enough, these concerns were laid out to me in a list provided by Tara, one of our mods on the channel during the live stream. He said, hey, out of all these things, which are all very, pressing matters for the Chargers, how would you rank them? And when I saw them all printed out, I was like, you know what? I think Herbert needs a weapon. Herbert needs a weapon. There's some big things that we're about to talk about, but I really do think, Lad McConkey, as amazing as he's been and as a wide receiver one as he's going to continue to be with this squad, we need another guy. And it's just the way the NFL is nowadays. There's no just wide receiver ones anymore. There's no it's Julio Jones, and that's it. Of course, he had Roddy White and other things. You know what I'm talking about, right? You can't just rely on that one dude over and over and over again. You got to have the two wide receiver ones. And we need to get some help for Lad McConkey, which is so funny how it works. You get another wide receiver one. Let's say the Chargers do add T. Higgins, right? It just makes Lad McConkey better. As good as he's been, he'd be even better with another guy out there helping share some of the load in terms of coverage. Like, it would be, that's where we're headed. Justin Herbert needs a weapon. He needs a guy that's as reliable as Lad McConkey to help spread that coverage out around and make this offense a little bit more tuned to his skill set. He's a passing quarterback. He's always going to be a passing quarterback. He needs the weapons. He needs the help. We saw him holding on to the football like way too long this game just because he was looking for guys to get open, right? And it seems that there was some, timing windows that were disrupted. The Falcons were going crazy for some reason in terms of the pass rush. They logged 5 sacks. They have 15 on the year, folks. 5 of them are on us, which is unfair. Look at that. What the heck? But if you had the weapons, let's say like a T. Higgins, let's say like Malik Neighbors or somebody from the draft earlier in the whatever, to share the load with Lad McConkey, then I think we're looking at a different game, right? But he doesn't have that. And that's going to be something I think the Chargers really, really need to attack this offseason. The more I look at the draft, I like a lot of the talent at wide receiver, but I'm more tempted by free agency right now, and that could change. That could change. But I do believe that's kind of at the top of my list right now. We need to get him some weapons, another weapon, whether that be tight end, whether that be wide receiver. We need another 1,000-yard guy to pair up with Lad McConkey. That will help Justin Herbert, the individual in this system, tremendously. Okay. The next thing, interior offensive line is in shambles. You remember how I said the Falcons generated 50% of their sacks in one game, and it was us in week 13? Ridiculous. In my opinion, from my eyeballs, what they told me, it's coming from that interior. That interior is pretty putrid. I was having a lot of hope for Bradley Bozeman, top of the year. Don't know quite how I feel about that now. Zion Johnson, first-round pick. He's had a really rough season. Of course, Trey Pipkins and the shift over to the interior hasn't been quite as smooth as we've hoped. That interior needs kind of a gut job, man. They need to rework. You got to start over. You got to get, I would say, start with the center, see if you can find somebody in the draft that you really like, or hell, free agency if you got to. We have to sort that out. Sure, I'm not quite certain of what, the priorities are looking like. It really feels super high on my list. Like, you've got to sort that out this offseason. But yeah, a combination of weapons and a little bit more help from the interior, I think would go a long way. And everybody knows this. Interior offensive line needs some major help. But lastly, and this one's going to kind of shock you guys, though, and this is something that I've observed not just from this game, but the Ravens game, which I was at in person just last week, okay? The Chargers also relying very heavily on running back. Last time, in watching the Ravens game, it really felt like everything went sideways when we lost J.K. Dobbins. It really does. I'm sorry. Like, at first I was like, we got guys. Let's step up. We got guys. Kamani Vidal, who could have had a better game. He's got the talent. We know he does. Gus Edwards, he's a system fit guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's got the talent. We know he does. It just didn't quite gel. It just didn't quite do what we were hoping to do. And I feel like it's because we need that workhorse guy. We need that prototypical running back one on the squad. And without J.K. Dobbins, it's been especially difficult for this offense to get anything going. And in the second game in a row, I felt that the absence of J.K. Dobbins in this game versus the Falcons was horrible, right? It was very damaging to the Chargers' offensive system. And for whatever reason, we're having trouble pushing past it. And that's why I think, in terms of glaring concerns, running back may actually need to be lumped in with wide receiver and interior offensive line. Running back, we may need that guy. And I'm not saying that Kamani can't be that guy or Gus can't be that guy. I'm saying that these are excellent running backs in a complementary role. Gus Edwards to tend to rise. Kamani Vidal to receive. We need that one. We need that RB1 on the team. And that's what J.K. Dobbins was. We don't have that right now. And it's damaging to the offense, quite evidently to me, at least. And that's why I wanted to close this video out with some excellent news, Chargers fans. Maybe not for this season. I think we're going to figure out this season. But here's the excellent news. This upcoming draft class of running backs is awesome. The more I'm looking into it, and of course I've been watching, you guys really roped me into this, and thank you, because I've had a lot of fun. I've been paying a lot more attention to college football this season. Definitely a first-year diehard BYU fan. You can thank my little one for that one. He woke up one day and he said, "Hey, Dad, that's my team." And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go to as many games as we can. Let's have a lot of fun with it. Been paying a lot more attention to college ball. And this year, specifically, feels like it's a very, very good year for running back. And you know what? There's a chance we may even get the best of them all. This guy, Ashton Jeanty, has been one of the most insane running back talents I've seen in a long time. There's been a whole lot of comparison between him and LaDainian Tomlinson, which is absolutely insane. And that's a very sacred thing to us Chargers fans, but I think a lot of us have been kind of on board with that. One of the most incredible running back talents I've ever seen coming into the draft. Of course, Bijan Robinson stands out. Todd Gurley stands out. But like, that's special. That's special. And Ashton Jeanty could very realistically be in range for the Chargers. Now, do I think it happens? I don't know. It feels like the Cowboys are the kind of player or the kind of team that would maybe reach for something like that, and they're going to be picking in the teens. The Chargers are going to be picking in the 20s. And I've seen many mock drafts where Ashton Jeanty does fall into the 20s, which is very exciting. That's something I would do 10 out of 10 times, right? You don't see running back talent in the first round very often, but when you do, they're very special. And so far, I would be very on board for the idea of that. And that could really, like we're talking about J.K. Dobbins, this would be that move that just unlocks everything. Having that elite talent at running back, and this is the way you do running back in the NFL now through the draft, right? Wow. Just imagine the potential of a Jim Harbaugh-led offense with Ashton Jeanty, right? But I don't know how realistic that is. So let's reel it back a little bit. This class is awesome. Amarian Hampton. This guy, dude, just again, like maybe a fringe first rounder still. I think Chargers, if we're picking in like the mid to late 20s, I still think I'm thinking about Amarian Hampton. This guy, I mean, dudes, please. If you don't know, especially if you don't know, if you're not a big college guy, please go look at the Ashton Jeanty highlights. And if you think we can't get him in the draft, please go look at the Amarian Hampton highlights. Like, these guys look amazing. Is this the next Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs year? I mean, kind of. I think, honestly, Jeanty could end up being better, but I'm not quite sure how, Hampton holds up the light to Gibbs. But I mean, this guy's still insane. And he feels like that kind of running back that we need. He has the moves. He's got the physicality. Like, that's a big part of this class that I love about the running backs. They're physical. They're big guys. They're big dogs. And we need a dog. We need somebody, if that's going to be such a pivotal part of this offense, we need somebody with that material. And Marion Hampton is awesome. Not to mention, dudes, I hope I grabbed a photo of that. Okay, not to mention, this draft class is just chock full of running backs that would absolutely be wide, or running back ones for this squad. Caleb Johnson at Iowa. He's a huge physical dude that I think absolutely could lead the offense. Then you got the Ohio guys in Judkins and Henderson. Both of those guys would be amazing in this offense. And then even, yes, I know he's not been the same way, but Ollie Gordon could be available in the 3rd or 4th round. And that's a big 6'2", like big physical dude. Reminds me a little bit of what we're trying to do with Gus Edwards. Like, I don't know, man. This is just a very solid draft class of running backs. I have a feeling that we're going to see our starter for next season come out of this draft class. And it's very possible that we land, some of the best of the best, like Ashton Jeanty or Marion Hampton. Like, I honestly think it could happen. All right. But let's say the Chargers do want to go like later rounds. Let's say, because you could probably still get Hampton in the 2nd, maybe. And this is very early thinking, right? But Judkins, Henderson, Gordon, these guys, like, you could find them in later rounds. Like this, you're going to be able to find starters at running back all the way into like rounds 3 this season, or round 4, like good ones. Very good class. Like, it feels like the wide receiver class of last year, maybe not quite as good, but like it feels like a really good class of running back. Let's say they decide to go somewhere else in the 1st round. Again, I'm just kind of going 1st round this video. Like, I don't have that much homework done. It's so early. You know what I mean? But I mean, we've been connected to other players like, Colston Loveland. Like, just why not? We're talking about Justin Herbert needing a weapon. Talk about a weapon that perfectly fits your offense. Colston Loveland is a 800 to 1,000 yard receiver on this team. A tight end 1 in football instantly, and a great blocker. Like, that would be an instant upgrade for the Chargers. And again, it doesn't push out Will Dissly either. Will Dissly's a fantastic tight end too. Great blocker, very capable receiver, sneakily capable receiver. Colston Loveland would be a slam dunk 1st rounder. If we don't go Colston Loveland, I'm not quite sure if this guy's a 1st rounder, but holy crap, wind him up and watch him go. Go take a look at some of his highlights. This is a physical dude right here, man. Tyler Warren in Penn State. Awesome tight end option out here too. Those are some guys I think the Chargers could target. You got some other Michigan guys you definitely have to keep an eye on too in terms of this one for the defense. Kenneth Grant could easily be a 1st round pick for the Chargers. Very disruptive interior defensive lineman. We could use the help there. But as for the last huge glaring need, I honestly don't know about this class. Last class is what you wanted to probably grab if you needed an interior guy. Last class was just so full of great centers and guards and stuff. This class, you're going to find some, but not quite as many as years previous. And this is still very early. I mean, I don't know, right? Like, we're talking about 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks. They could end up climbing. Who knows? It's so early. But just trust the scouts, right? One guy that I can say might be a good pickup, Donovan Jackson, Ohio State, right? He's a nice guard. Maybe find him in the 3rd round. That's definitely something the Chargers need to be looking at right now. We need a center desperately. What's this guy? Parker Brailsford, center out of Alabama. Might be a guy we have to consider. He's, again, probably a 4th round pick sort of dude right now. Again, right now. It feels like positions that we do have to go in on eventually. But the good news is, like, other positions and stuff, especially running back, like, it's good class. A weird class for quarterback, but we don't need that. You know what I mean? Maybe not the best class overall, but there's some talent at positions that we do need. And we have a GM that's very capable. We're going to see some compensatory picks start to roll in next year. And now we know that, the value is going to be there too. Ortiz, he knows what he's doing in order to get solid contributors in even rounds past round 3. So who knows? Well, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Exciting win. Chargers find a way. That's going to be the thing. We got to find like a Jeff Goldblum shirt. The Chargers, find a way. And that's the culture I'm excited to embrace going forward, man. We got things to do. We got things to fix. We got aspects of the team that need strengthening. But right now we're 8-4. Very realistic to think the Chargers are a double-digit team this season. Very realistic to think that we're going to the postseason. And what a massive accomplishment that would be for Jim Harbaugh in his inaugural season with the Chargers. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you liked what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. Oh, man. The thought of Ashton Jeanty to the Chargers. It's not even draft season. I'm getting pumped up, baby.